The Seattle Mariners are always a team that I ponder, that I look out at, are a team that just baffles me in every single way. They found a golden unicorn in Julio Rodriguez, who literally, and I'm not kidding, has to carry this entire lineup. Batting .273 with an OBP of .235 and an OPS of .734. It's pretty good. Had overall 20 home runs and 24 stolen bases, not stuff. And then there was the big dumper, 34 home runs, led the team in RBIs. I mean, surely there's something that this organization could have done. Surely there was something that could have happened. Because the 2024 Mariners were, without a doubt, to say that this team was frustrating would be an absolute understatement. Seattle Mariners would end the season going 85-77. A record where at once they had held a 10-game division lead in the month of June. That all went away before the All-Star break. A team who we all snobbed, we all sneered and snickered when they would sign Victor Rubles. Turns out he was a godsend on the team. And he probably a main reason why the Mariners still remain as closely in playoff contention as they did. That was something that I loved. An unexpected player to join the team. The other acquisition during the trade deadline was getting Randy Arozarena. He was a little bit better than he was in a Double Ray uniform. So, the bright side, sure, we have the outfield, but the infield, oh boy. Ty France getting axed, even though I think he had a fairly decent year, but he got axed. I really hope he does well in Minnesota. And then, it's the rotating, they bring in Justin Turner, who does well enough. There was also JP Crawford, who had a down year compared to the year before that. Josh Rojas, who had a really good year. Oh, and they didn't tender him an offer and let him walk in the offseason. Oh, fun. Jorge Polanco. I really hope it's just because he needed surgery and he'll bounce back. And is bounce back candidate. Yeah. This team was very frustrating, but where they struggled in bats, this team was absolutely outstanding in the pitching department. Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Best rotation in baseball. Bottom 5 hitting core in baseball. Bottom 5 hitting core. You also look upon that as their bullpen was probably one of their weakest strengths this year. Sure, Munoz is a great closer. The guy is amazing. He has an incredible fastball. But then you got a rotation of Trent Thornton, Voss, Stanek, Salcedo, Cinder, Berzino, Spire, Chargos, Troy Taylor. Guys that really couldn't do it. I remember the month of August where, pitcher tosses out a gem, hitting, we get 2 runs, and then the bullpen absolutely collapses on itself. It was a struggle last year for the Seattle Mariners. We go into this season with the offseason where it's like, there's a bunch of really good players. Like Hyesung Kim. Peter Alonso, we did it. Come on, we gotta at least try. We submitted an offer to get, Carlos Santana.
You suck!
Hey, Devin Solano, are you doing anything? You want to come play for the Mariners? Here you go. The best season, the best acquisition that we have on our team. Devin Solano. Joy. So not only did this team is going to lose the production of Josh Rojas, You mean to tell me the replacement for Josh Rojas is Devon Solano? This team really doesn't like to learn their lessons, do they? Another offseason where the Mariners tend to go with the direction of, hey, let's cut ties with our productive hitters and replace them and bank on them to be able to do not only replicate their production, but to surpass it all entirely. Don't get me wrong, the outfield is fine. I think Julio, Rosarena, and Victor Rubles, I think are gonna be fine in Seattle. I think Rubles having a career renaissance in Seattle. Remember, in the 77 games he played, he was batting 328. So there's something, I'm quite high, and I will have high expectations on Rubles. Julio, if he could just continue to progress, I think the outfield is going to be really good. And for Rosarena can really continue his form that he had with his limited time in Seattle, I think they'll be just fine. But what the problem is, you have these pieces, but then your infield is, J.P. Crawford, who had a real down year. Not great. The stats and analytics say that, he didn't do too much, right? Josh Rojas was really good. I find to be very productive. How are you gonna place the man's production when, oh boy, this team looks to cut ties yet again? Don't get me started on Team Mitch Haniger, who basically is forced out into a DH role and as a backup outfield role at this point. Really struggled to produce in Seattle. As well as Mitch Garver, their acquisition who was supposed to be their DH, really didn't do things that a DH should have done. He had a really bad year, and he hit less than 200, and really felt the team felt better when he just wasn't hitting at all. Garver's struggles were very well noted throughout the season as a whole. Garver struggled a lot. Are we hoping that maybe with Dan Wilson he bounces back? I don't know, but right now we're paying a backup back catcher around $10 million to do whatever the heck he does. Mitch Haniger, I think it's around $17 million. Oh boy. So there's about $27 million on their payroll that really just can't do it, right? And I think Luke Raley as a utility player does fairly well, but the problem is he can only do well against I think it's right-handed pitchers. He doesn't do well against left-handed pitchers. It only makes sense to go out and get at least one bat that can contribute and help this team get that extra 1 or 2 wins to clinch a playoff spot. They didn't do anything. And I think I have an explanation why. And I'll have a criticism towards it. Now, it's important to note that baseball magazines have ranked around the Seattle Mariners' current farm system. It's around the top 5 of what I've been hearing. They have great bats along the way. One of those bats that could make an impact in 2025, Cole Young. He had a really good year. He had a really good end to the year in Double-A Arkansas. I think he did pretty well, and there's some really good potential. He was a monster in the last month of play for the Travelers. But he's not pretty high, but as an end, he's an infielder. So there's a bonus, and this spring training, he'll have a real chance at trying to crack a 40-man roster spot with the Mariners this spring training. So a lot of eyes are on Cole Young. We have Colt Emerson, who had a really good Arizona Fall League, and I think he's going to be starting out in... He's going to be starting out in either Everett or Arkansas. He's starting off in one of those, and he's only 19. He's currently the number 1 prospect as of now, as of as of the end of the 2024 rankings prospect according to MLB. I've also seen a lot of magazines that's had him in the top 20, in the top 30 in most prospect rankings. He's about to hit AA baseball too, so there's a lot of eyes on him. There's also Lorenzo Montoya, who's someone who I have a very high opinion of, although he did struggle in the first month of Everett. So he did struggle to adjust. What if he struggles if he's just a player that might take more time than is really given? So there's a lot of question marks around Lorenzo Montoya, or he'd be a lot higher. Harry Ford is our catcher who's probably going to be in AAA this year. But you have Cal Raleigh. And the only reason you would move off of Cal Raleigh and go with Harry Ford is because, oh yeah, Cal Raleigh called out the organization in 2023 because they weren't signing anybody worth a damn to help this team. There's Phelan Colston, who could be, if healthy, he will be able to make a big impact this year. You also have Tyler Locklear, who's looking to also make a roster spot, is currently sitting at 6. You also have guys like Johnny Familio, Ty Pete, and Michael Arriaro, who are also bats that I have a really high opinion of. And they're very young too. And all these guys are going to be starting in high A or higher in this upcoming season. But with this in mind, I like to go back in time and enter the time machine. Let's go back into time to one of the most renowned baseball magazines that said that Seattle's future is here, with Rookie of the Year, Kyle Lewis, Jared Kelenic, and Julio Rodriguez lining up as the top prospects for the Seattle Mariners farm system. Let's have a look at how all careers are currently going out, as far with the bonus appearance of Evan White. And also kind of a point where you say, you know, trust the farm. Well, let's see what the farm did for these bats coming up. Let's go back to the end of the 2020 baseball season. The COVID-shortened year where they also acquired prospect Taylor Trammell, who I believe was the number 2 or 3 prospect at the time. And they got a bunch of nice stuff. They got Munoz, Ty France, player to be named, which ended up being Matt Brash. This was a great trade for Seattle overall. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this trade. This trade was a key reason why the Mariners made the playoffs in 2022. Ty France was absolutely amazing. Munoz was a beast. Brash really rediscovered his role as a closer rather than a starting pitcher. Both of these guys made all these players made great contributions, except for Taylor Trammell. The first whiff for the Mariners is Taylor Trammell, who never panned out. He had flashes where he looked really good, but never really stuck out and made a role. There was a third spot that was always available, and he could just never really hone in on that and take that. And eventually, 2023 was a really big sign when you just pushed down the batting order. Then moved over for players like Ryan Bliss and Dominic Canzone. He was really pushed aside, and also Cade Marlowe too. So his opportunity to stay on even just to stay on the 40-man alone was slipping and never made it. Let's look back at Kyle Lewis, who was Rookie of the Year in 2020. And 2020 was really weird. Small sample size, yes. But Kyle Lewis was absolutely amazing and dominant through that entire 2020 season, taking AL Rookie of the Year. 2021, we got a lot of high hopes. Reinforcements are on their way. And let's all look at Kyle Lewis. Oh, he's hurting towards meniscus and is out for the entire year. Well, that sucks. Comes back in 2022 with March. In the month of May. Oh dear Lord, he has a concussion. Fast forward to 2023 sees that offseason. The Seattle Mariners decided to move off of Kyle Lewis, who would remain in AAA and not make it back into the majors, and is currently a free agent. I was really high on Kyle Lewis. I really liked the kid. He was fantastic. He was doing well against guys like Justin Verlander. And only Justin Verlander. And him alone couldn't play a full season's worth of games for the club. And really couldn't. Again, injuries suck. He couldn't play outfield anymore because he didn't have the speed necessary to do that anymore. So he was gone. Wow, 2 outfield prospects. Whiff. And let's go to Evan White. Well, Evan White was a player that was in the farm system. He made the jump from AA to the majors when it was clear that he needed more time. But what was really good was his defensive prowess. He was really good defensively. So the Mariners would sign him to a 6-year, $58 million extension. Let's see. And again, let's do a little quiz on this. If I were to ask you, who played more games? Did Evan White play more games for the Seattle Mariners in 2020 or in the years of 2021 till now? What would be your answer? Oh, if you said he played more games in 2020, I love your funny optimism, but actually he's played a total of 68 games between the majors and the minor leagues in the years of 2021 to 2024. Yeah, injuries suck. He could never just stay healthy. So somebody that, again, the team saw something, invested early, and it bit them in the butt. So again, it's all hard to see or tell where the Mariners are at. And the coup de grace is Jared Kelenic. Someone really high on the prospect who debuted in 2021, but really struggled in the majors. He would have really good streaks. His hot streaks were scorching hot, but his cold streaks were as ice cold and as obvious as possible. And ended up being an eventual headache to where the Mariners would ship him off alongside a bunch of other sets of relief salary money in return for Phillips and forget who else, who both, but what I do know is, Jackson Kowar, Jackson Kowar. You have Jackson Kowar and Phillips, who both tore their who needed Tommy John surgery for both of them. So in terms of when someone says, but trust the farm system, this is what the farm has produced in the past. It is what the big high-end prospects have been able to produce in the Mariners system. This has been absolutely ever so frustrating of why you can't say trust the farm system, because the farm system realistically has only been able to produce pitching. It hasn't been able to produce hitting. Ryan Bliss still hasn't made a roster spot. He's got experience, yes, but hasn't made a roster spot yet. Hasn't made a final spot yet. There are guys that they've produced quad A hitters that I think would do really good elsewhere, but they haven't done anything outside of that. So here we have right now where we are with the Seattle Mariners. A team that is ever so stuck in neutral. With one side saying they should do this, some sides saying they should do this, but whenever they lose a hitter and they add an adder, it doesn't move the needle at all, and they need to get players that can absolutely move the needle. As for this season, I don't have high expectations for this team. I fear it's going to be quite a long year for the team. My only hope is that Cole Emerson is as good as they say he is, and same with Cole Young. Because in 2 years, if those two are reinforcing the infield and they're good as they are, and we still have production from Arozarena, Julio, and Rubles with really good pitching, then that's amazing. But then you get comments like this. You get we have a great winning percentage of 54. Oh boy. Let's look at stuff too. Jerry DePota's comments saying, we are not a poor franchise. We've been spending more than this organization has ever spent. You want to know what they spent in 2028? They spent $160 million on that team. They right now have $149 million. Yeah. They say that they're never disappointed in an offseason. Well, to be fair, no one can ever be disappointed in the offseason. Are we disappointed we didn't do more in this offseason? Absolutely. Well, so are the fans. They were in on free agents, but never locked it down. Never ever going that extra mile to really get its stuff going. And there could be a bunch of factors going at it. Management and ownership group only giving this team the offseason of $15 million to get new contracts. That's not gonna help the team at all, right? And this team is a great destination, right? I think Seattle's a phenomenal destination with the electric factory, and it's got a passionate fan base. But to give it more perspectives of what this team just needs, they need help, and it's a lot of help. And the more this management group puts in their heads in the sand, I feel like it's more of a struggle that they have. So we're gonna see what happens. But all that I know is that, I mean, Stanton, Dipoto, they're the guys that are really holding this franchise back. Yes, you have bats coming up in the minor league system. Yes, we're excited that we also have a first round pick that's in the top 3. We got the 3rd overall pick from the draft lottery. That's exciting. But, like, what are we gonna do now? We can't keep pushing on the future. This is once a fan base that has waited 20 years to make the playoffs, and this organization has failed to really ride the momentum of this team. Could they make a trade before the season opener? Absolutely. But right now, this team is stuck in neutral. They are not going to go anywhere forward nor backwards. I think right where they're going to finish this season, it's about 84, 85 games. Similar to where they finished last year. And it sucks because the Houston Astros are more vulnerable than they've ever been. I never see the Texas Rangers as a threat. But then you got and then you have the Angels, who they spend money and it never works, and it hilariously never works. You know that guy is only for each plate appearance. Each plate appearance has been worth $75,000. I mean, the Athletics just spent over $100,000 in contracts and re-signings this offseason. So again, you're not going to be able to hold off the Athletics forever, and when they eventually do move to wherever the hell it's going to be, they're going to be an absolute threat to this team going forward. It's not as easy. This division is very winnable, and yet they've done absolutely nothing to really stake their claim in dominance. And the longer they do this, there's going to be a different team in the AL West that's going to be like, aha, we're going to be the new daddies of the division, when it really could have been this team, when they could have done more. To me, goes beyond of crying poor about not having a really lucrative RSN deal anymore, because, oh wait, the Mariners do. The Mariners own their RSN now. They bought the RSN, so they're not making a shitload of money from RSNs because they're the greatest scam. Go back to before the 2020 season, where one of the chairmen at the time, president, was gloating that there was such a robbery of a deal. He would have later been fired because of that interview. Yeah. It's this kind of mindset that this team has that makes me go, nothing's going to really change for the Mariners. I want them to do well. I expect them to do well. But how often is it going to be, top tier pitching, but hitting never comes along? Oh, hey, we got to rush these hitters to the big leagues. Oh, wait, they stink and they need time to marinate, and we've destroyed their confidence. Oh, boy. Right? We've seen this song and dance before. They've acquired top prospects and never developed them as hitters. You can pitch all you want, but you're going to be forcing all your bullpen guys to pitch in high leverage situations every time that they step foot onto the plate. So here we have the Seattle Mariners. A team that's always stuck in neutral, and a team that you look at and you go, man, if this ownership group actually got impact bats, this team would do something. I mean, for God's sakes, they can't even get veteran presence. They couldn't even get Justin Turner to re-sign with this team.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?